Hello, my name is Agnieszka Pawlicka, and as a Scrum Master and Process Facilitator at Cilio, I would like to show you today a short presentation with the latest key changes in the 2020 Scrum Guide. But first things first, to be precise, what a Scrum Guide is. It is a short document containing a clear definition of the framework, descriptions of the roles, events, and artifacts, as well as the rules that bind them together. Scrum Guide is developed and maintained by the founders of Scrum, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, since the day it was first published 25 years ago. Last update was published over 3 years ago in 2017, and now the latest update was released on November 18th. If you are familiar with the 2017 version of Scrum Guide, you may be really surprised how different the recent version is. First, the structure of the guide has changed and the prescriptive language and practices have been completely removed. It is in order to create a more lightweight and easy to comprehend framework. So, definitely it is less prescriptive and less complex. The latest Scrum Guide is shortened from 19 pages in 2017 to 13 pages as we have it today. To be honest, it has been completely rewritten. There are just a few sentences left from the previous version. Thanks to the simplification of language used, it is open for a broader audience. Authors highlight that Scrum is made for all fields and industries, not only the IT, and now the language used in the Scrum Guide reflects it. Now I would like to walk you through the 7 key changes in the 2020 Scrum Guide I chose to be interesting. First, the updated version introduces the whole new term, the product goal. It is in order to direct focus of the teams towards a larger, valuable objectives. The product goal is to the product backlog what a sprint goal is to the sprint backlog. It means that each and every sprint should bring the product closer to the overall goal. It describes your product backlog as a product owner and gives direction to the Scrum team. Commitments. In 2017 version, we had only one mention of commitment, and it was represented by one of the 5 Scrum values. Now this value is embodied in 3 commitments. Each one derives from one artifact. Product goal is the commitment for the product backlog. Sprint goal is the commitment for the sprint backlog, and the definition of done is the commitment for the increment. These provide a nice way to describe some of the key characteristics of each artifact and bring more transparency and focus to their progress. No more development team? How is that? Don't worry, the term development team got replaced with the term developers. The main goal was to eliminate the concept of separation within a team and avoid sometimes difficult cooperation and strange relationship between the product owner and development team before. Also, the goal was to bring the focus back to delivering value and being responsible for it as a one team and not just as the product owner. Whenever the team does what the product owner tells them to do, we have a problem. We need people to challenge the decisions and focus on delivering one common goal and bring the value. No more questions? In 2017, the 3 questions used during the daily stand-up: what did I do yesterday? What is my plan for today? And are there any obstacles or impediments? Were optional, but still we were using them willingly, and they were very popular. But now, in the 2020 Scrum Guide, they just disappeared. The motivation behind that is to keep the framework open and less prescriptive. It means that developers can propose any structure they want, provided that it focuses on the progress towards the sprint goal and produces a plan for the day. Self-managing over self-organizing. There is no more self-organization of the development team. Well, there is no more development team either. So what happened? Since we do not have a team within a team, as I mentioned before, now we are moving towards a self-managing Scrum team as a whole, product owner together with the developers. Scrum Guide clarifies that it means they internally decide who does what, when, and how. Self managing goes a step further than self organization. You not only organize the work anymore, it gives the Scrum team more responsibility and, as such, removes it from managers. Since 2017, we were talking about two parts of the sprint planning session, the what and the how part. Now we have three equally important topics to cover. Why is this sprint valuable? Product owner proposes how this sprint could increase the product's value. And we have an obligatory sprint goal to be defined by the whole Scrum team before finishing the sprint planning session. Another question: what can be done this sprint, within this sprint? Through a discussion with the product owner, we select items from the product backlog to include them into the current sprint. And the last and also important: how will the chosen work get done? The developers decide on how they will do the work and split or decompose the product backlog items. In the newest release, the term role was replaced with accountabilities. The purpose of this change was to put special emphasis on the fact that it is not a job description, but rather the minimum set of responsibilities necessary to implement Scrum successfully. These accountabilities are split into three groups: Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Developer. The new accountability is a term developer based on development team role described in the previous version of the guide. This change of terminology, however, does not change the Scrum framework, as the roles were always shown as a set of particular accountabilities. But removal of those roles simplifies the guide and reduces the confusion around the view that a role is a sort of a job title. So, what are the conclusions? We have to remember that Scrum is still Scrum, and the core principles of empiricism, inspection, and adaptation remains at its core. All the changes introduced were driven by the desire to more explicitly support its usage not only in the IT area but also in other industries. The 2020 release makes it more inclusive, shorter, and even clearer. It presents the pure essence of Scrum to ensure that it is easy to understand and adapt. As authors say, Scrum hasn't changed. We just found a better way to describe it. So, being aware of the modifications introduced and implementing them into your daily practice will definitely bring amazing results to your teams and future projects. Should you need any assistance in this matter, feel free to ask me, and I will be more than happy to support you. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to encourage you to read my article about the changes, which you can find in the link to this presentation. Thank you.